Hello dear chess friends, I'm International Master Andrei Ostrovsky and this is Learn from Chess Blitz, the show that gives you an opportunity to learn something new about chess while playing against me. Just go to leechess.org, find me by nickname Mostrovsky and challenge me for a 5-minute game. If you're watching me for the first time and you want to improve your chess, just subscribe to my channel where you can find a lot of instructive chess videos. So you can use the short link bit.ly/Mostrovsky here below. So now let's just start our Sunday edition show, the next episode. So today I'm going to fight for the initiative right from the start with both colors. And let's just see if I'm successful with this. So, Kramnik student is here. Hello, my friend. So I already have 2 challenges, so let's start playing. The first challenger, as far as I understand, was PhD Ganbarov, so I will take this challenge. And I'm playing with black. So e4, let's play c5. So Sicilian is a typical choice for a player who wants to fight for a win, who wants to fight for the initiative, starting from first moves. Alright, knight c3, avoiding d4. The main idea is probably to provoke me playing something like d5 here. And if I play d5, for example, or I can take on d5 and play d4. That is probably the thing, just trying to provoke the position with the isolated pawn. Alright, I will start with the a6 move, the move which is useful here in any case, because in the majority of cases black plays b7, b5, and after d4 we just have a transposition to the main line after d4. Alright, let's play b5. Sarik Kumar is also here. Hello my friend, I'm happy you joined the live stream. So b5, the point that I want to attack the knight c3, just to kick this guy away from the center, and then when the knight goes away I will have the access to this e4 pawn, I mean the better access. Bishop to e3, very natural continuation. So now I have a choice between queen c7 controlling e5 square, preparing knight to f6. Another idea is just to put the knight on f6 immediately, because e5 is probably not that dangerous in general. I can also start with the b4 move, I guess, and then put my knight on f6 attacking the e4 pawn. I think queen c7 is very flexible, so it actually combines several ideas. It fights for some important squares. For example, h2 is under pressure already, and I can attack this pawn slightly later, I guess. Just like after, say, knight f6, I create a threat of just playing b4 followed by knight takes e4. At the same time, if there is a chance, I can jump to g4 square, attacking h2. Okay, what to do now? So b4 is prevented. I can most likely play d5, but I don't like the idea of opening the position in a situation when I'm not that prepared, because my pieces are not developed at the moment. It's possible probably to try something like h5 here, by the way, creating sort of knight g4. So let's try this h5. I'm not sure if it is the best move or not, but it's something really typical for this opening. Okay, knight g4 is very tempting now. So takes g4, takes g4, g3, but probably I don't achieve anything there after that. So what to do instead? To play bishop d6 or knight c6. I guess knight c6 is interesting. Continuing the development and intending to do something with this great central knight, maybe to exchange it, maybe to bring my own knight to e5. That is also a plan. Rook e1. All right. Now it's interesting to do the following. So just takes on d4 and bishop to c5. Maybe I underestimate white's play after that. If I play bishop to c5, then after exchange on c5, which is typically good for black, but only in case there is no possibility for white to play e5 and then occupy d6 square. So maybe it makes sense for me to start with the e5 and then bishop to c5. Yeah, this is interesting. Slightly unusual play. I guess h5 is not necessary if black wants to come up with this plan. Azure Mist is also here. Great. Do you accept challenges from viewers? The question, yes, that is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm playing against viewers. So this move forces bishop back to e3, where after I think I can do this. So why didn't I play this bishop c5 immediately? Because after bishop c5, queen c5 was possible for white to play e5. So now, since my pawn is on e5, this is prevented. And after exchange of these bishops, I think I will have not that bad control over dark squares. Probably better than white. Maybe I overestimate my position. Time control is 5 minutes to each player. So let's try this extremely risky move, castling here. But after I played h5, it is quite natural, right? Because if I castle short, there will be a big problem with my pawns there. Okay, now what to do? Let's start with this move. So I have to do something with this queen, I guess. Maybe I can try something like d6, bishop c8 at some point. Let's try it. Because my bishop doesn't do anything useful at the moment in this position. So maybe it can help in fighting that queen. Right, it's time to exchange bishops. Now I want to play something like g5, maybe. Maybe h4 is also a move with the idea of knight h5, knight f4. Interesting maneuver prior to doing anything else. Let's try this as well. Even if I don't achieve anything on the king side, I just put my pawns on correct squares because I have a light squared bishop. So placing pawns on dark squares means this bishop is not limited and so forth. All right. That was natural. This weakens a lot, of course, but well. Now it's time, I guess, to do something there. Otherwise, I'm maybe just late. Okay, to ignore this, probably. Yeah, let's ignore it. And go with our own attack. Oh, this is interesting. This move probably. target in h3, maybe intended rook to g3, I don't know, we'll see. There are different ideas. This one is also interesting. Some sort of misplaying. That's just a harsh time trouble. I'm trying to get to his king this or that way. I don't know. Check. Getting closer. Extremely complicated position. Almost there. Okay, so I wanted to take on h3 next move, and I can't see a defense, to be honest. Was there a defense after h takes g3? That is an interesting question. So let's have a look at this game that was very complicated, very interesting. So after this, h takes g3, just want to take on h3. I guess king g2 was the only move. And probably just enough. Maybe not. Let's see. At the moment, I can't see a concrete winning move, which means probably this sacrifice wasn't correct. So like queen h4, attacking h3, creating sort of a checkmate, but simple rook to h1, let's say. Now f4, connecting the bishop, but now it's possible to take on e4, I guess, with the knight. And if bishop takes h3, then king g1. And there is nothing, I think. Was that a sound attack? What do you mean, Kramnik student? Something happened to the sound, or what's going on? Don't understand, just let me know. So somewhere here, I think I started playing strangely. So after g takes h3, g takes h3. Position was quite complicated, I know. But feels like I somehow misplayed it. Maybe rook g8 was really slow. Or maybe I missed a great opportunity here. So after king h2, why didn't I play d5 immediately? That is a good question. So it works just perfect now. Yeah, with the queen on c7. That's the idea. I didn't see this. I saw that only later when my queen is already on d7. That's a pity. So d5. If e d5, then just d4 check. So it's very bad. I mean, check, attacks the bishop, and so on. If white doesn't take on d5, then, well, it's a better version for me if compared to what was in the game, I guess. Because I have several ideas, including like d4 move, d takes e4, maybe knight takes e4 at some point, and so forth. And after queen d7, I think white is doing more or less fine. So rook g1 was a correct move. Now I played d5. I'm not sure that e takes d5 was the best move. For example, something like b5 deserved also serious attention. I mean, I don't create a threat with this d5, I guess. Because if I take on e4, there's bishop e2, simple move. And then b takes a6 followed by queen b6 with the own play here against my king. So that was too much, I think, for black to play this queen d7 followed by d5. Let's get back though I guess white played not the best way somewhere here. So after knight f6, a3, h5, h3 was okay. Knight to c6, but this rook e1, I didn't like this rook e1 move, honestly. So I guess it was better just to avoid the exchange of knights completely by placing this knight on b3 maybe. Or just taking on c6 and then playing something like f4. That was also an interesting option. So takes, and just f4. That was probably the best one. Where after you create a threat of playing e5, f5. So you just control the situation in the center much better. You no longer have problems with this bishop c5 jump and so on. This is an interesting thing. Because after rook e1, I guess I could have played even knight to e5. It was interesting continuation. So I decided to take. Bishop takes d4. Yeah, that was probably a bad idea in general. So it was much better for me to play knight to e5, I guess. In which case, if you play f4, I can take on d3 and play something like d6 with the more or less balanced position, in my opinion. There is also an idea of just putting this knight on c4 as an option. So something like that. Yeah, this c5 was, in fact, very risky. So why didn't I play this bishop c5? Because I didn't like this line. And after e5, my knight is forced somewhere. And then your knight through e4 gets to d6. In the vast majority of cases, because I definitely don't want to put my knight on g8. If I play queen c6, okay, you have a great choice between knight e4 or bishop e4 even. I mean, queen c6 attacks g2. But you can also just consider this move. Yeah, it weakens position slightly, but after my knight goes away, once again, this is very annoying. So this weakens dark squares. Okay, I just played e5. Here it says that white had a great option of playing knight d5. Yeah, I just didn't consider it even. But that was great. And after e d5, look, your bishop is protected because pawn e5 is pinned. Right. And after bishop d6, queen f3, that is the line that was added by this cloud stockfish. Castles, bishop a7, wow. That is strange. Okay, g5, rook here, g4, queen e3, just crazy computer line. Bishop takes d5, bishop b6, and kind of takes on d8 and so forth. Extremely complicated position as well, but true that knight e5 looks much better than bishop e3. After that, okay, I played this, queen f3, castles. Computer also doesn't like this, but okay, I don't think it is really wrong. It is really bad because if bishop g5, okay, I can counterattack against f2, but maybe that was an option. I mean, I wanted to do something like this, but probably I was wrong in the sense of evaluating this position correctly, because first of all, there is a threat of queen e5 and the possibility to take this pawn right now and to come back to f5. And also this pawn structure may be just very ugly for black. Yeah, bishop g5 was interesting. Right, I played d6. Again, he says that it was vital to prevent bishop g5 and recommends playing bishop g5. And already this position, I think, is very close to balanced. Yeah, I have some weaknesses for sure, but I have clear plan of attack because of this pawn h3. And white has to do a lot to open up a position on the queen side where my king is. Maybe it was better for me to avoid all these complications by playing queen c5, by the way, because this exchange on c5 will be quite good for black. And if queen goes back to f3, my queen at least occupies this very good diagonal, and I have some ideas. So to maneuver my bishop to e6, let's say. And then at some point to play this g5, g4. In any case, was very, very good. Very, very good game. Very interesting and complicated one. And I actually succeeded in the sense of fighting for initiative. So let's continue. The second was Crowning Student. Let's play Crowning Students. I hope you are ready now. So let's play. Let's do the same. Let's play Sicilian. And I like this line, to be honest. a6. c4. Okay, very natural continuation. Trying to come up with this Marozzi style position, controlling the center heavily. So let me remember what could black do here. So the hedgehog looks very natural reaction to that. I mean, knight f6, then d6, b6, bishop b7, and so forth. But what is the correct order of moves? So I guess I can start with knight f6 because e5 isn't an option because of queen a5 check. Now after knight c3, e5 is already a threat. So queen c7, I guess, should be played. Controlling e5. My username is Mostrovsky, the same spelling like in the bit.ly/Mostrovsky, the shirt link you can find below my name. So bishop e2. Can you hear my son is crying, huh? Because he's doing that quite aggressively now. So bishop e2. Okay, I have different options. So knight c6 is an option here. But if I want a real hedgehog, then I should put this knight on d7. On the other hand, there's usually a good way to do something in the center. So knight c6. Exerting some pressure on knight d4 already. And if white takes, let's say, then, well, I'm not that against because I improve my situation in the center. And if knight goes away, this means there is no longer this great knight in the center. But knight on c2 is also not that badly placed, honestly. So is it possible to force some weakening of the position after bishop d6? Because if I play bishop d6 and white plays something like g3, I can continue with the h5, h4. If white plays h3, I can even consider something like bishop f4, again exchanging dark squared bishops. And since I control this e5 square, and white is not that ready for c5, maybe it will be not that bad for me in general. Alright, let's try this. That is probably not a very typical way of playing that, when opponent has c4 and e4 pawns, but looks interesting. And I guess worth trying. So the idea is simple. I just attack h2, and if white castles, I capture that pawn with check and go back with the bishop. That's the point. I just want to win the pawn. And if I play something like g3, alright, I have a target like h5, h4. But white isn't afraid of that. g3, however, also weakens diagonal a8, h1. So let's try to occupy that with the bishop. Oh my goodness, I missed an f4 move. That was stupid. But my opponent doesn't actually punish me for this mistake. f4 was very strong, in fact. But he creates a threat of knight to a4, so I have to protect this pawn. b6. I guess it's okay for me to try bishop c5 now. But then bishop goes to f4. Position becomes really complicated and unusual. Anyway, let's try this move. Alright, that is what I wanted to achieve, in fact, because now there is a hole on d4. And I can even do something like d6, e5, knight d4. Something like that even. But first, let's clarify the things with this. g3. f4, okay. So e5 is the idea. Let's prevent it. I don't like this e5, at least right now. Now the knight on c2 is kind of pinned to d4 square, so once the knight moves away somewhere, I occupy it with my knight on d4. And this can be just a great activation. But first, let's complete the development. d6 is under attack. So first, let's take here. Opening the H file already, and now let's castle. Protecting d6. And intending to play on the king's side. So rook h3, king g2, rook h8, rook h1. And white is probably okay. So how to start this attack correctly? Not that sure. Let's try this idea. So this move, I just target b2 pawn. Most likely prevent b4 move. And additionally control d4 square, so this may be very helpful. Alright, now I think this looks very natural. Attacking g3, now creating threat of rook h2. And now rook h1 is not possible because I just... Well, it's possible, but it loses some material, I guess, after queen takes b2. If I'm not mistaken, so I just grab the pawn. And everything looks very, very weak in white's camp all of a sudden. So queen d6 doesn't give white a perpetual check. Just take on c3 after that. There is no perpetual check. Now I just want to play knight d4, I guess. White has to do something with the queen, but it's not clear what to do with this queen. Because if queen goes away, for example, along the second rank, I just take this knight. If queen goes away somewhere protecting this knight... Well, there is queen d3 move, in fact. That is the only move, I think, for white right now. At the moment, just protecting everything. Or knight a4, okay, also a possibility. Let's check the king. And now what? What I wanted to do here, I just wanted to play this move. Now attacking e4. And this gives me this check, and now I take the knight. All right. Well, I could have played this much better than I did. That's 100%. What am I doing here? Just misplaying it. Look at this. There was a possibility to actually play queen d4 check, taking my bishop. Amazing. Amazing chance. Oh, I lost on time. My god, that is amazing. So I completely outplayed Kramnik student but simply misplayed it by the end. Yeah, happens. In any case, a nice game. Thanks for this experience, my friend. So let's have a look at this. After knight c6, I believe that knight c2 was the first inaccuracy. I don't think that white has to go away from d4. That is a great central position. I believe something simple like bishop b3 could have been much better. And to start with, I guess that is not the most precise order of moves. Maybe bishop is even better on d3. I don't know. Okay, knight c3 is great. So queen to c7. Now, how to play this correctly? Let's see. For white. Maybe even bishop b3, you know, just to start with that move. But okay, bishop e2 can't be bad. Knight c6. I don't like this knight c2, to be honest. I don't like this knight c2, so I would have played something like bishop e3. Seriously, so I don't think this knight d4 is a great strat. So you just take on d4. Okay, black maybe exchanges some pieces, but still, this problem with the space remains. So knight c2 simply, well, gives me some additional possibilities. I played bishop d6. That was interesting try. You played g3. And here I made a mistake, a serious one. I played b6, so after b6 you could have punished me with this f4, I guess. Creating sort of e5, and I'm not in time to play d6. I don't know what to do here. So if I play bishop b7 here, just too late. You just play e5. And I have an awful position, so it's very close to losing, I suppose. So yeah, f4 was really strong and b6 was a serious mistake. So I should have played something like bishop e7 here. Get into normal hedgehog after, let's say, d6, b6, bishop to b7, and at some point this maneuver knight to e5. And sorry, I can't draw this arrow, but you understand. Okay, knight c6 goes to e5. Now you can't understand this. So knight c6 goes to e5, and then when my pawn is already on d6, knight goes back to d7. So that is the most natural approach, most natural setup if you play hedgehog. So knight on c6 is usually very vulnerable and not very useful. So bishop e7, b6 was a serious mistake. You played bishop e3. I played bishop to c5. I guess bishop takes c5 is a serious mistake as well. So it was necessary for you to try something like bishop f4, where after I wanted to do what? I wanted actually to try something like knight to e5. But it looks quite risky, honestly. Looks quite risky. Maybe there is a punishment, maybe not, I don't know. But that is, in my opinion, was the most promising way for you to play. So bishop takes c5 just helps me, because now after bc5, I have a problem with this d4 square. So probably you felt that later in the game because you couldn't really activate your knight c2. So castles h5, f4, d6, bishop f3. So that was more or less natural for both sides. I castled here, played queen to b6. Yeah, and now rook b1 is a serious mistake. So king g2 was a good move, preventing rook h3, and I also expected this king g2 because now you're ready to go with this b4. Alright, I no longer have this check after c takes b4. So rook b1, just a waste of time. And now I guess I'm fine. So once again, king g2 just to help. Rook here, takes, and queen takes b2. And, well, black is winning here, most likely. So the rest was just, yeah, a comedy of mistakes. Sorry for that. In any case, let's continue. So a lot of new commenters in live chat. Very nice, guys, that you are there. Let's keep playing. Here is Sarit. Let's play Sarit. So maybe white pieces. No, still black pieces. Come on. Let's keep playing with black. So what is the other way to fight for initiative? Still Sicilian, I guess. But now let's try my favorite choice of my childhood. So Sicilian and Najdorf. If it is possible, of course. But c4 doesn't give me a chance to play this. On the other hand, it is not very cool to play c4 here because I have very simple e5 move, controlling d4. Now we have very stupid position, actually. Both controlling central squares. I control d4, white controls d5, and so forth. But I think black is not worse here already. Now, I guess my natural plan is to prepare f5. So most likely I will need this pawn here. Because playing f5 without the possibility to recapture with the pawn after that is quite risky. By the way, bishop h6 was also an interesting idea, just to meet white's d3 with the exchange of dark squared bishops, because this bishop is stupid. Yeah. Maybe I can play this right now, but it no longer looks like a fight for initiative when you play bishop g7 and then bishop h6. It's wasting the time. Alright, instead I will play knight to e7. Why did you drop the Sicilian? The question. Interesting question, by the way. Well, because there were so many dangerous lines, I should have actually be prepared to. So, for example, on a level like 2300s plus, it was okay because I was prepared more or less the same way like my opponents. But playing against grandmasters and strong international masters was already like a challenge in each and every game when I played Sicilian. That's why I decided to play something more solid, and actually it paid off quickly. So bishop e3. Let's castle. I guess it's not bad. Queen d2. So what about knight e4 now? Looks like a tempo move. It's clear that white can't take it with the knight, but this gives me just an exchange, right? So maybe it's a blunder, maybe it was intended, I don't know. Let's see. Question, which tournament would you play next, Andre? So I will play the one in Stockholm. The Rilton Cup, so-called. Takes a1. Now I guess I'm good to go with the f5. Yeah, why not? So extra exchange means that I have to try to open up files for my rooks. And it's not possible to do if you don't push your pawns in a closed position. Alright, g takes f5. Controlling the center and opening the G file. I don't think white has a compensation here because in addition to extra exchange, black has pair of bishops, very good central control. In general, it feels like position with the space advantage, even. A rook f1, not clear what white is going to do, but let's complete the development with the bishop e6 move. Knight here. That's an interesting choice, so I can take on d5, I guess. But this actually activates opponent's bishop. On the other hand, if I don't take on d5, there is bishop f3. So let's take it, I think. Taking it at least once looks natural. But what is next? To take it or not to take? If I take, there is d4, but I think I have a defense. So let's take it. This is not very dangerous, I suppose. So I can go here. And tendon d5. Let's take. All right. This closes the bishop and gives me b2 pawn as well. Takes. Okay. So in addition to extra exchange, as we may notice, I have also a couple of pawns, which makes my position simply winning. Which opening do you think is the most solid and good for black? Well, it depends on your taste. It's a very hard question. There is no universal solution. So for me it is e7, e5. For somebody else, well, e5 looks extremely risky because he simply feels not very comfortable in long positional fight, let's say. So for him it is much safer, let's say, to play dragon. Now it's completely winning. King goes to f4, risky or not? I think it's okay. And now to e3 even, great activation. With the help of my opponent, of course. But it's hard to say if white had anything better. Of course, maybe something like king f2. Because now my king is just gorgeous there. Time to activate this rook. What is interesting is only the second move with the rook in this game. So the first was castling. But you may argue that castling is the move of the king, but at least my rook from h8 moved to f8. And now I make the second rook active. Alright, let's just play rook c5. And king d4. Freeing my pawn e4. Let's go. Let's go. It's over. So it's clear that white made a serious mistake when he played castling, giving me a chance to play knight b3. After that, position is no longer interesting. But I think queen d2 is actually already a strange decision. So I understand that white probably intended to play bishop h6. But look, bishop h6 is not necessarily a good idea for white here, because my bishop is very bad, in fact. And I don't think white has a real perspective of the attack here, since I have the idea of playing f5 and f4 closing the position. So, what to do instead? It was interesting to play h4 here, intending this h5 move. That is really annoying for black. So black should definitely prevent it. And there is a problem, because if I play bishop g4, preventing it, you have a great idea of playing something like knight g5. Why great? Because you actually forced me to exchange my light square bishop for your stupid light square bishop. So in this case, you definitely benefit from this exchange operation. So if I play something like h5, this weakens g5 square, and this actually makes my f7, f5 plan not that sound anymore because g6 will be weak. So here you can use this square somehow. Now, for example, you can put the knight there. Once I've played f5 or something, you can play the bishop g5 there. But I think the easiest way to improve your position right now is just to try something like knight d5. In which case, after knight d5, c d5, you have a clearer plan. So you can put your knight here, exerting pressure on my d6. This will be also the preparation of the g4 move with probably even the attack there. So if I play something like this, you can play knight d2, then your knight can go here, you can try g4. This is also an interesting idea. And once I play f5, you just put the bishop on g5, kind of blockading this g6, and sooner or later this g6 may become your target. That's the problem with black's position here. So I guess queen d2 is the start of the wrong plan. So now after knight d4, you have to do something with the b3 square. Maybe you could have played something like bishop d1, because I don't really like the idea of taking with the bishop. In this case, I take with a pawn. Your knight goes somewhere, I don't know, even to d5, but in this case, I can take. If I want, I can also play f5 immediately. And I have a pair of bishops. So if you take here, I just play f5, and so on. Very pleasant position for black. If you take with the ed5, I mean, if you continue with the ed5, then, well, probably your position is not that bad, but still, I think black has better chances because of pair of bishops. In general, I control more potentially. So, queen d2 is a step in the wrong direction. That's my opinion. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. Who's here? PMAV99. Let's play. White pieces. Great. Finally. Slightly tired of playing with black. Now, initiative. Where is my initiative? Somewhere here. Of course, depends on what my opponent does. French defense. All right. A6. Preparing b5. Okay. And queen b6 instead. So it's an interesting line, by the way. So if I play knight a4, there's queen b4 move, attacking my knight. If I take on c5, there is queen takes b2, I guess. Okay, let's check this knight a4. I don't know. So queen b4 is definitely forced now. Well, at least looks like that. Otherwise, it's not clear why black played queen to b6 here. Ugo Pizza Fan. I will recommend to others your live streams. They are very nice. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And the guys that subscribe right now also, many thanks. It matters a lot. Yeah, queen b4, of course. What else? So I don't think I can trap this queen. If I play c3, queen a4, b3, queen a5, of course, there is no maneuver for me to trap that queen. What can I do potentially here is just to take on b4, but then knight takes b4. which is unclear, but it feels like I don't have anything better than just taking on b4. Because if I take on c5, there's queen b2 very annoying. So let's check this one. So two choices, to take with the knight or to take with the pawn. Taking with the pawn actually also deserved attention, stopping me from playing c3, a3 and so forth. Now my only problem that c2 is under attack. I think I can solve it with the help of king d2 move. It's already the ending, so there is no problem with having the king in the center. So now the pawn is protected and I can get rid of this knight very soon with the a3 or maybe c3. It depends on what actually happens with the knight a4. Because right now I want to take on c5, so black has to make a decision either to take on d4 or to play b6 or to play c4. So three typical choices. Alright, so takes. Also interesting question, how to recapture. I guess with the knight, still with the knight. Andre, have you ever played a sim on Lichess? Looks like a good way to get more followers. Well, never tried it, and probably, yeah, it's a good idea at some point to come up with a simul. Let's go away. And bishop b7, not necessarily a good idea to put the bishop there, but where is another question. Almost everywhere here the bishop will be quite passive, I guess. Alright, let's make this move. So what I want to do here is to get rid of black's threats like b4 and so on. My knight on c3 is very passive, so it's a nice idea for me in general. Just to take on c6 and to put this knight on d4, so to replace these guys. To change the situation a bit. Maybe bishop d3 should be played first to control e4. Square. Another idea is just to play b4, just like in games between Anand and Barriev, classical things on French defense. b4 interesting. We can c4, but knight b6 leads to knight takes c6, so maybe black won't have a chance to occupy b6 square. Let's try b4. It's risky, I know, but it looks very interesting just to start building this prison for the light squared bishop. Now this light squared bishop is limited with own pawns, seriously. That's the main idea. Alright, now bishop d3. And I guess knight to e2, very natural follow-up. Protecting knight d4, avoiding this knight b4 tactics, and intending to replace knight d4 with another knight when it comes to this. Castles. Okay. So now we have to understand that black is about to play something like f6 or f5, but it's not possible when my knight is still on d4. So I can play this, just supporting my knight and pawn b4. Additionally, now I have the idea of playing a4 at some point, creating some weaknesses in black's camp. Now I don't know, let's take it. Let's clarify the things finally. Now bishop to d4 also looks very good, but then f6. So let's start with this move. Now f6 isn't possible, so maybe I have the time to play a4. I don't know. Maybe just knight b3. With the idea of putting the knight on a5 and controlling b6 square, so that preventing black's knight b6, knight c4 idea. Rook f1, bishop f4 was an interesting try. Now I will prevent it for sure. So everything is based on this guy here. But right now it's a big question if I'm in time to convert my advantage. So let's play this. Bishop c5. Comes back to d4. Protecting everything in time. And now it's time to create some weaknesses there. There is no easy way, for winning that, because, well, there was a chance to prevent this a4 in general. Oh, I don't know what to play. Let's take the pawn simply. I could have captured it immediately, by the way. Now one more. Centralization. Not in time. Alright, e6 was possible. That is much better. That is much better option. Alright, so interesting game. I think instructive in the sense of mistakes that both sides made. First of all, here, after knight a4, queen b4, queen takes b4. Yeah, to start with. I guess c4 is interesting. Yeah, black, of course, gives up the attack against d4 pawn, but stops my pawns here, so controls the situation. And these guys may also become objects of attack at some point, and this actually makes my knight not that great. So yeah, maybe I can play knight c4, knight c5, sorry, just right now. But black also has some interesting ideas. Knight b6, then knight goes to c4 is a threat. And this knight is not very good here on c5 in general. So it is quite vulnerable, and black has some ideas to play b6 at some point, just kicking this guy away. I have no idea. That was the move that I actually didn't really like. From white's perspective, I mean. So knight b4 was more or less fine, so I played this, but cd4, knight e4, now b5, knight to c3. And yeah, this bishop b7, in my opinion, is another inaccuracy. On the other hand, after b5, there is a problem with the knight b4, so I actually underestimated this threat probably, because I expected something like knight c5, creating sort of knight e4 at some point, but yeah, I forgot about this. So maybe in general, this b5 wasn't that accurate move. On the other hand, what to do? Maybe just to come back with the knight immediately. Something like this. So knight c6, intending to capture it, and then quick bishop e7, castles, and f6. That was probably black's best counterplay. Maybe to start with bishop e7, just developing the piece. Now if I spend the time on this move, you just come back to c6. And then bishop d3, you castle. Take on d4, let's say, and play f6. So my knight on a4 anyway has to go away somewhere, because it's not clear how to use it on the edge of the board. That was, in my opinion, a very interesting thing. So the knight b4, b5, knight c3, bishop b7, I think my position is already very pleasant. So just b4, it's a typical thing. So yeah, I weaken this square, but if you play this, I just take on c6 and take the knight on b6 next move. So bishop e7, bishop d3, rook c8 was probably too slow. I guess an interesting plan for you could have been something like bishop here and then to b6. But I'm not sure if you achieve anything concrete after that, because I can still do the same, like knight goes to e2, supports the knight on d4, and I always recapture with the piece when you take on d4. So bishop on b7 struggles now, in fact. So rook c8, knight here, c3, rook c7. So probably that was not correct. It was better for me just to prevent the black's counterplay on the king side first, maybe to bring the rook to f1. Maybe to do something else, I don't know. Maybe just to play a4 right now, right here. I wasn't very sure. But this also looks great. Just get into this pawn. And if knight b6, I still can take on c6, I hope. Or maybe just I'm lost here. So if I take, you take on a4. I take on e7. Rook e7. Now rook to... Yeah, you have knight b2. Okay, this is not in line. Okay, I can play bishop c5 there, but I don't win anything. Bishop c6 leads to bishop c2, I think, in that line. Yeah, so it's unclear. It's unclear. Maybe I can take on c6 here, and then to take your a6 or maybe a4 doesn't... It depends on which piece takes on c6. I mean, here, of course, I take here. But now you have some ideas like this. So bishop becomes active. So position is unclear. In general, white has to prevent all this activation, if there is a chance. So knight e4, rook c7, knight b3, f6, takes, bishop g5 here. Now bishop f4 was interesting. That was a move. And that's why all this operation wasn't that sound. Wasn't that correct for white. I wanted to play something like knight c5 here, but again, position is unclear in my opinion after knight takes c5. Not sure if that is the best move for black. Knight takes c5 is also possible, I guess. But in this case, I take with the bishop and can come back to d4. That is what I wanted to achieve. Alright, so maybe after knight c5 I'm still okay, because there is a threat of knight takes c6 winning the exchange. Yeah. Okay, so in general, black has to avoid this pawn structure because it is usually very, very annoying. All right. Okay. Let's continue. D. Trumpovsky. Let's play D. Trumpovsky. I'm playing with white, so there is no Trumpovsky, fortunately. Alright, Caro-Kann. How to play for the initiative. How to fight for the initiative in Caro-Kann. Let's try Panov. Attack. A3 is a multi-purpose move, so it controls b4 square. White is important because at some point when black takes on c4, the typical maneuver against the isolated pawn is to play knight c6, knight b4, and then knight to d5, something like that. Okay, do I have a useful move here? Yeah, I think bishop g5 is a useful move. Knight c6. Yeah, correct. So black doesn't take on c4. Black waits for my bishop e2 or bishop d3 to take it. That is a correct strategy. Right, let's force the matters, I think. It's time to clarify the things with these pawns. A6. probably gives me a chance to consider c5 move now. Because I already control e4 square. Square which knight usually occupies if white plays c4, c5. And a3 is also here. Yeah, I guess I can try it. I guess it was already a good moment for black to take on c4, in fact, after I played bishop d3. That was very natural, winning a tempo. So now after c5, okay, I'll just support this pawn with the b4, and I will have a great advantage in space, I think. b5, well. This means that my pawn c5 is forever. It can't be a very good idea for black in general. Okay, let's start with castling, just to clarify the position of the king. And now I guess just b4, alright? b4 supporting c5. Intending knight to e5, so on, so forth. Yeah, it's a very good position for white, very pleasant. It's important not to actually miss the tactical thing like knight e4 at some point. By the way, knight e4 is interesting right now. Attacking my knight c3. But I guess I can just take it with the knight. And if bishop h4, then my knight gets to d6. Very good. In your opinion, is it ever fine in traditional openings to play for an IQP with black, so isolate a queen pawn? Or it is a good structure only when you have the half move advantage? Well, it's absolutely playable thing in my opinion. The only difference is that when you play this position with black's pawn on d5, if compared to positions with d4 for white, in the vast majority of cases you don't have a chance to come up with the attack on the king side, because you simply don't have the time for it. So white usually... Oh my goodness! Did you see this? Wow, what a great blunder. Oh my god. Yeah, that was something. That was something. Bishop takes e7 should have been played. Oh yeah. Very nice. Very, very nice. My gosh. Whew. Yeah, this happens not that often, but when it happens, it's usually epic. So yeah, continuing about IQP. It's not that easy to organize the attack against the king, but it's still playable. But probably not that fun. Oh my goodness. That was something. I'm just... Yeah, minor piece down here. Yeah, there is no compensation whatsoever. Simply just... like it's just minor piece up. Yeah. That is amazing. He's just a genius. Look at this. 92 is a threat. All right. Another trick, I guess. Very strong opponent. So the opening was very bad, but then he started playing like a god, I would say. Now he's like fast, almost winning. That is just amazing. Just amazing. Just amazing. So let's have a look at this position. Of course, it was already positioned with a great advantage after b4. Maybe b4 wasn't that accurate, but okay. I don't think that b4 is bad. After 94, I should have played this. Bishop takes e7, of course. Now, if knight c3, then bishop d8. Knight here. I think I'm better after both rook d1 or just bishop c7. It's clear. So much likely after bishop e7, black does the same. Just takes with the knight, protecting the knight on e4. But okay, here I can simply play something like queen c2. Attacking that knight. If f5, then I just put my knight on e5 with a typical advantage. If knight takes c3, I take on c3. And again, I have more space. I have protected passed pawn and this very stupid bishop on b7. Just didn't see that. I mean, takes here, and now, yeah, I just didn't see knight e7. I completely overlooked it. That's amazing. Okay. Let's keep playing. So, e4. So I think f3 is an interesting choice here. And now the only problem with that, black will fight for initiative, not white. But this f3 will potentially give me a chance to play g4. So let's try something like this. And now c5. And then maybe g4 at some point. I know it's not a very good idea for white in general, but deserves attention. Yeah, my opponent was very strange. Actually, yeah, so bad opening stage, but then at some point started playing like genius, like this tricks and so forth, this forks. Yeah, very, very good tactical preparation, I would say. Very nice. Alright, b6 looks very natural. Very natural move, and that is probably the refutation of the whole idea. On the other hand, what if I just play b4, a5, and queen a4 check? Could it be something interesting? I don't know. Let's try. Peter Castle asks, cheater? No, I don't think he was a cheater. I don't think so. That was quite normal. I mean, this idea of knight e4 is very typical, by the way. So if, for example, black plays this variation continuously, then he wants to make this knight e4 work. There was just a position in which if knight e4 doesn't work, then, well, black is simply lost strategically. That's why my opponent just took his time, thought of this knight e4 and played this knight e4. No, it was alright. It was absolutely alright. That was just surprising to me after this opening. That's what I mean. Okay, here I wanted to try this check. Maybe I'm just doing something extremely stupid. Most likely I'm doing something extremely stupid. But on the other hand, pawn a5 is pinned. I hope so, at least. This probably gives me a chance to play this move. c6, and now probably bishop to d3. Yeah, that is annoying. But at very least, look, I forced the bishop to a bad position. And occupy this important diagonal. Alright, let's go to b1. Looks very strange. But once I complete my development, I guess I will have very pleasant position. A takes b4, in my opinion, is inaccuracy. It's better to play knight a6. Much more aggressive move for black. Because now black will struggle to activate this knight b1. Sorry, b8. h6 castles. And now, how to place my pieces. So the knight is probably needed somewhere on a5, even just attacking this c6, or maybe e5, but it's not realistic at the moment. So let's start with this maneuver, knight d2, knight b3, blockading b4, then trying to attack it, and then maybe at some point I will get the possibility to get to a5 square with the knight. Interesting position. Just in time to prevent b3 and knight b4, maybe. But black had another idea in mind, to bring the knight to e6, I guess. Alright, does it really matter here to grab this pawn b4 or not? I can't see anything wrong with just going and capturing that pawn if black gives me a chance to do this. If knight goes back to a6, okay. No, knight goes to e6. This is a good idea, I think. But now I take the pawn. So position is again materially balanced. Knight to e8. The idea is most likely to bring the bishop to f6. Back gates. It makes sense for me just to try this. f4, f5, grabbing the space. Do you ever play the Scandinavian? Sometimes in blitz or bullet. Never over the board. Never. And what if h4? Where the knight goes? Maybe to e4. Okay, I will grab that pawn. No. Goes to h7. So black forced me to weaken my position slightly. But I think I have enough resources to protect my pieces here. Oh, by the way, there is bishop a5 possibility. Is it something that deserves attention? I don't think so. So let's centralize the pieces. What is that? Oh, that is probably not very bad. In fact, underestimated that completely. Oh my god. It's really annoying. And just in time, because I have a time trouble, like, it's amazing. Going to lose it, I think. If black finds a way. No, now I'm fine. Of course. Now I'm fine. Just extra material. Oops, but no time. Only 8 seconds. Shit. It's amazing. Come on, let's play. No, lost on time. Lost on time. Shit. All right. Interesting game. Interesting game. Very interesting game. But I actually started playing very, very, very dubious series of moves here. So I guess it's necessary to take on e6 here, because this line is not great. Is not great. So b6, b4, okay, a5, queen a4. I do believe that immediate c6 is better than bishop d7. So in this case, I don't even have this bishop d3 move. And black should be completely fine. Having this b5 in mind, simple development of the knight at some point, and then a takes b4 becomes a threat. Even the idea of sacrificing the exchange this way, just like takes and takes on c3, is very, very good. All right, so here, after this maneuver, I think I was more or less fine, taking into account what crap I played. But here black had very good move knight to a6. Because if I take here, then my b4 takes this bishop, takes a5. And again, black is fine here. Much better than taking on b4 with a pawn. So if queen e2 check, then just queen e7 or something, or even bishop e7. Again, black has much better development and much better pawn structure. So a takes b4, well, gave me a chance, in fact. So after all this, I think I'm better, in fact. Maybe it was not necessary to take this pawn on b4. Maybe it was much better for me to centralize the pieces as soon as possible. For example, I also considered knight g3 move here, preventing knight to h5. And look, if black plays the same move like in the game, I have this very good knight to f5. So knight is just very strong here. And then rook goes to e-file, and I gradually push my pawns on the king side. Have much more space, much better pieces, and so forth. So bishop d2, okay, was, in my opinion, just waste of time. And all this was also quite double-edged. But this was not very correct. I expected knight at g5, in which case I wanted to play this. And after this, something like rook takes, and then queen to e2 or bishop to e2. I think I just have enough resources to protect. If rook takes c8, then just queen d1. I have enough resources to protect my king, I mean. So everything should be fine here. It's important just not to waste the time and to make only tempo moves. But after that, well, I simply didn't have enough time to convert it somehow. I don't know why. After knight b4, most likely I was winning after a simple queen to d2 move. Attacking this, the queen is simply hanging here. Yeah, missed this chance. In any case, was an interesting fight. All right, let's play our knight. e4. Andre, I don't understand what is the idea of c5 against Scandinavia. The idea is to grab the space. What actually happened in the game. That is the idea. To limit the activity of dark squared bishop and so forth. So, I don't know the theory here. Telling you this right now. But as far as I remember, it is possible to play g4 in this position. It's not to put the bishop on c4, not to castle, but to start these active operations right away. Chess Champ, what is your nickname? Tell me. Let's keep playing that. So maybe I won't get the attack against the king, but I definitely have more space now. And after g5, I have the access to d5 square, so maybe I'll occupy it very soon, maybe even next move. Maybe slightly later, I don't know. Let's castle here. Because now it's fine. Okay, chess champ, I see your challenge. Oh, this gives me knight d5 extra tempo, so let's do it. This forces queen back to d8, so black actually lost a lot of tempo already. Because queen went to a5, now to b6, and now it is forced to d8. Because if queen takes queen, I just take on e7 with check. And then, only then take on d4. Okay, so now, I have good attacking prospects. So let's attack. f4, and so forth. Knight to b6. I guess it's better for me to save this knight on the board, but this means to go away right now. But probably it's not a bad idea to have the knight on e3, because here it supports f5. Why not? Also not that stupid position. Of course, it would be better to play something like f5 and then to put the knight on f4. But okay, I didn't have the time for it because black already wanted to exchange it. Now f5, I guess. Okay, black is just obsessed with the idea of exchanging queens. Maybe now it's not that bad for white to exchange it. Queen c5, dc5, what do I have here? Do I have something decisive? I don't think so, and extremely promising, also not clear if there is anything there. What I have there is just slightly more space, but this may be just enough. So let's take it. What I wanted to try here is this 95 move. So I told you that I wanted to save the knight on the board, but it's already, a different situation. And I guess the activity, the general activity of my pieces is much more important here. Let's say now I can play rook to e5. That's what I wanted to do. Attacking e7. e6. Oh, my rook is kind of trapped after that. Maybe it's not that bad. So what if I just take here? Now play bishop c4. Double-edged situation because my rook has no moves. On the other hand, well, it's not clear how to protect this pawn e6. And I have a clear plan, actually, how to improve my position, like rook d1, rook d6. Okay. Rook e8. Let's put the rook on d1. King f7. Now what? Rook to d6 or rook f1 and rook f6. Rook f1 and rook f6 is even stronger. King e7, king d6 was a possibility, but with the rook on f6 I have rook d5 check because the pawn on e6 is pinned. I should take, I guess. And now I'm fine. Okay. Strange idea, but Rook is invulnerable here. Now I guess it's a good thing just to cover d4 square. Rook and the pawn just limit the activity of the king seriously. Now let's say a4. And now it's time to do something like this. Check. Takes. Two extra pawns, and I think he's the winning position. Forces the exchange of rooks. Yeah. So, black misplayed it, I think, already in the opening stage when played queen b6. In general, I don't think this knight e4 is a good idea, but especially this queen b6 is a bad move, because after that I have extra tempo. And what is more important, the queen is forced to a very bad position, right? Here it was possible even to take, in fact, on b6, damaging the pawn structure, but I wanted to save more pieces because I had a feeling that I have some attacking chances. And after this, there was an interesting tempo operation. So I attack e7 now, and knight takes d5 is forced. Rook takes d5. Well, it wasn't forced. I mean, rook e8 is also a possibility, but I just don't think it is a good idea because of knight c7. So yeah, after knight d5 looks like it is forced. This knight takes d5, rook takes d5, b6, now rook e5. Attacking e7. And the point is that if rook goes to e8, I just play bishop b5, attacking the rook and then grabbing the pawn on e7. Alright. So it's very bad for black. e6 was an interesting try. And here we had several tactical tricks. So I played bishop c4, attacking the pawn, and I thought black will try this idea, so king to g7, because if I take on e6 now, there is rook e8 kind of pinning my bishop because my rook is attacked. But here I have bishop d5 move, and if rook takes c5, I take that rook, and I'm more or less fine, so I have extra material. Another option is to play something like rook d1 against king g7. And now black has problems with completing development because once the bishop moves, I have rook d7. Alright, so rook e8 was played. Now I played the same move, rook d1. The same idea, actually, to prevent bishop d7 and to be able to penetrate the 7th rank once I have a chance. Now also there is a sort of threat like bishop b5 maybe, but the main idea is definitely to bring the rook to d6 at some point. And king f7, I decided to use it with this move because once my rook gets to f6, it's just perfect. All right. Here I thought that king e7 would be played with the idea of rook f6, king d6 attacking my rook. But I have rook d5, as I said during the game. I guess I just free my rook and then these two weaknesses will decide at some point. All right. So that didn't help either. And now to rook f6, well, bishop d7, oh sorry. Bishop d7, bishop takes e6. I expected, in fact, something like bishop maybe somewhere, but doesn't really help. Okay, there was an interesting idea just to play rook e7, in which case I'm forced again to react with this bishop d5 move. The only move, otherwise there is rook e8 and so forth. Rook d8 doesn't work here because I play rook f7, check. But maybe that was also playable. Look, if king goes here, I can't really take. I can't really take on d7. Neither with rook nor with bishop. Yeah, that was an interesting idea, just to play rook d8, protecting the bishop. But I think I have rook d5 here, right? Yeah, rook d5, very nice escape. And if bishop takes e6, I can take on d8 and take on e6. I can also just take on e6 immediately. Interesting. But rook d8 is better. And we have actually the same ending as we had, which should be just gradually winning for white. All right. Andre, why do you always play with white? I actually started with 4 or I don't know, something around that games with black this time. I don't always play with black, so I just accept challenges. So, and it depends on the challenge. So sometimes people actually challenge intending to play with black, for example, or with a certain color in general. Sometimes it is just a random pick by the system, and I don't usually choose this. So let's play one more. Do you see this? Now I play with black. So okay, initiative. It's not really easy to fight for initiative with my normal opening choice, so let's try something like this. And this gives me a chance to play c4. Let's play c4. Let's play this. Now there is a threat of a4. So let's play a6. And bishop b7. Protecting the rook. Very strange position. But definitely something fresh. And there is a chance to fight for the initiative. So now I have at least more space, right? Which is quite pleasant. How to develop the rest of the pieces. So bishop to d6 most likely. Knight to where? I don't know. We'll see. So the question, an interesting one from Paul. I always wonder about if playing c4 there is good or not. So it depends on whether you have a chance to keep all these pawns. So c4 was the tempo, and I had a chance to actually save this pawn chain. And if white already has a c3 pawn, c4 is not great because bishop remains on that active position, b1, h7. And then white has a simple play based on e3, e4. Here I actually force the bishop back to e2. That's the idea. Another question, Andre, why does your account say Germany? Because I live in Germany right now. But I represent Ukraine over the board. c3. All right, not sure if it is a good idea. But okay, let's keep developing the pieces simply. b4. All right, white decides to close the position on a queen side, but this is not necessarily a great idea. I mean, now we are going to play somewhere in the center, maybe on the king side, and the center is closed, everything is closed, so I have very easy play. Let's protect the pawn on b5. Bishop is really stupid, but black is not alone in having stupid bishops. White also has the one on b2. Yeah, I like my position with this great knight on e4. Supported by typical things like f5 sooner or later. There will be an attack on the king side. Okay, now let's castle, right? And this gives me a great outpost on d5. And I can actually put there my bishop as well as my knight. We'll see. Okay, f4 weakens e3. And that is the reaction of my son, if you can hear that. So it's really, really pity. Okay, let's bring the knight to d5. Okay, again, some guys come here to promote non-chess related stuff, let's call it this way. Okay. Sorry guys, didn't have time to actually block that, but if it shows up again, I will do. All right, now let's put the knight on d5. I guess it's correct idea. That was amazing. I mean, it started, I think, during the previous episode. And I thought it was just like one-time action, but no. It's kind of system. Now I can understand that. So I have much better pieces here, but it's a great question if it is enough for a win. So for something more than having a pleasant position. Right, let's put the queen on e7 first. Just to avoid rook a8, queen a8, rook a1. So a file is still for both. If I play rook a4, which is a typical thing in such a situation, of course I lose c4 pawn, so instead I will take here. And now it's very tempting to play queen a7, but first I have to deal with this queen g5 idea. Also, there was a preparation of g5. I don't know if it is possible to play g5 right now because there was h4 or something. Okay, now let's go there fighting for the a file. Well, white is doing very well in exchanging pieces, so probably I have to save the queen on the board to have chances. But my chances are melting, I guess, with each and every exchange. Very hard to break through. Yeah, very hard. I don't know how to win this. Actually, at the moment, it's not clear. Absolutely. So maybe to try knight to a4, but what does it give me? Bishop just steps back. Alright, white is probably fighting for something as well. That gives me chances. This is an exchange of a quite bad bishop. I didn't know what to do with that bishop. And now I have the axis. Yeah, that was very bad idea for white to take on g5 and to actually, I don't know, exchange light squared bishops and so forth. Very, very bad. Look, this position is just awful. So black has a full control. Alright, let's attack the bishop now. At some point something should drop, I guess. Here it is. Oh my goodness, that was a blunder of knight f5. That was crap. Probably still not that critical, I mean, but absolutely unnecessary, right? Absolutely unnecessary thing to blunder this. Interesting King's March. Like, I don't know. Checkmate. Okay, very nice finish, but well, white was of course very close to saving it. Very nervous and strange game, probably because of that advertisement, I don't know. So, okay. So what happened here? First of all, the thing is, it's much better for white to react to all this with the c3 move. So you start with the c3, and you make sure that your bishop will have this square on c2. And now if I play c4, by the way, the difference, and probably the answer to the Pole's question. So b3, b5, a4, and now I'm not in time to save this pawns, which means all this action makes no sense. After bishop d3, I have the time, and at the same time I save. At the same time, with saving my pawns there on the queen side, I actually make white's light squared bishop passive. So now it is on e2, not on this b1 h7 diagonal. So after b5, b3, a6, as we can see, I'm just not that bad. I'm doing well. So here, okay, after all this, I guess black is better. Maybe deserved attention just to play f5 after knight e2, by the way, to have a chance to open the f file if white takes on e4. But I thought that having this square on d5 will be also quite good. So I expected that I would have a much better position after that. And I actually had. The only thing is that it was quite closed and it was very hard to break through. Alright. So maybe f5 wasn't great. Maybe it was better not to hurry up with such a move. Maybe to play something like f6 and think of playing e5 at some point. That was an interesting idea as well. But this is double-edged. If I play something like f6, e5, I have to understand that at some point d4 may be a good square for the knight. Alright. So I played f5 after queen g3, and this exchange, I thought, well, it should be just a draw very soon. And it was very close to that, especially after all this. So here white's best strategy was just to stay and wait. I think black has nothing serious. So maybe just to protect the pawns c3 and e3 with the bishop. So to play bishop c1, because queen is placed great here on the a file. The only potential problem for white is that I sacrificed something somewhere. But after bishop goes to d2, for example, it's impossible. I mean, bishop will just protect everything here. Alright. So queen f1, bishop e8, and that was the first step in the wrong direction. That was the second one, exchanging the wrong bishop. And now my pieces are much better. I have the idea of playing f4 at any moment. And what is really important, I just get to the a file, just in time. stop white from playing there. And after king f2 and g4, king e2 and yeah, bishop g5, something should drop very soon. So maybe queen a2 was okay, but after bishop a1, I was just in a rush with taking on e3. Instead, I should have just protected that bishop first, so for example, like this. And the next move will be knight takes e3, so white can do nothing simply. And white is almost completely paralyzed. All right, so that was the last game. In fact, thanks a lot for being with me this evening. By the way, I've prepared something really special for you tomorrow. Not necessarily the live stream, so there will be an interesting training video. Just subscribe to my channel to be notified about the fact of publishing the new video. It will happen tomorrow, so Monday at some point. Will be very instructive and interesting thing for you to watch and actually to take part in, because it will be just a pure training video, so you will have a chance to actually participate. Not in live, but still should be very, very helpful. I wish you a good week, which starts very soon. For somebody, probably it already started. And see you very, very soon. Just take care. And another interesting idea for you to be notified in time, just follow me on Twitter. And you can find the link here below. Yeah, that is definitely the end. Thanks a lot. All your support is appreciated and welcome. And see you very soon. Bye-bye.